Two Kids and a Career is a production of Jill Devine Media.
And baby carrots are so easy. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So like they just come in this bag and you can just take them out and like put them in your lunch. And then you get out your lunch and you take out what you have and you're like, baby carrots? I don't want to eat baby carrots. Like these are so gross. Like they're not good. So then I go on this mission to make baby carrots less disappointing. And I'm trying all these like different dips. And it turns into like, I have never gotten so many DMs about anything in my life more than baby carrots and what I should eat them with. I legit quit. Like I deleted my Instagram for a whole week because of the baby carrots. Like people don't like. Everyone has an opinion.
Evoke Creative is a proud sponsor of Two Kids and a Career. They help small business owners like me brand with purpose and market with intent. The ladies at Evoke Creative will help make your digital presence known. Learn more at evokecco.com. That's evokecco.com. Hi there and welcome to Two Kids and a Career. I'm Jill Devine. As an entrepreneur, wife, and mama, the daily grind of trying to build a business while taking care of kids and trying to maintain a healthy connection with my hubby, it's a lot. With this podcast, you're going to hear candid conversations with other moms, parenting experts who can share their knowledge and insight, or you'll just hear me rambling to get it all out. There's going to be tears, there's going to be laughter, but most importantly, there will be support. Take a listen and connect with me so we can grow and learn from one another. This is Two Kids and a Career. All right, this week's guest, man, I have quite the backstory on you, Sarah. It's like, where do we even begin?
Who knows?
But Sarah Rentfro is joining me, and I will go back to episode 47, dealing with depression and anxiety, having Jesus in your life, and seeking the still with Laura Fleetwood, who happens to be Sarah's sister. And I actually mentioned you in that episode.
You sure did. That's the only reason I listened to it.
At least you're being honest. That's what I like about you.
I'm just kidding.
So I want to do a little bit of a backstory on this because it's just so, I don't know, I guess maybe it's just me and it's so funny to me, but it again, small world. It's one of those things that people always talk about, but then it happens and you're like, yes, again, small world. So how I met Sarah goes to the same church that I do, Messiah Lutheran. And at the time, what were you doing? I mean, I didn't even know your job description at that time.
So I was a children's ministry assistant.
Okay.
So I was basically in charge of like the 0 to 2-year-olds. So I would teach that class. And then I was also like setting up for all the early childhood classes. But I was just teaching that 0 to 2-year-old class.
Okay. So that's how I met Sarah, because at the time, Lou would go in to your classroom and while I went to church, and then one day you said, hey, would you like to volunteer in here? And
Yes.
I was like, sure. So that's where everything kind of just transpired. So I would come and volunteer, and it would just, with this other amazing woman, Amy, and I formed this friendship with Sarah and Amy. And then one day and this is what I mentioned in that episode with your sister. I remember being at church one day and there was a woman singing on stage and she had a tattoo on her wrist and I had been thinking about one. And then Sarah, now it's all coming back to me. So I came in to volunteer or drop Lou off and you showed me your tattoo on your wrist. And I go, oh my gosh, there's this woman on stage who has this tattoo, has been making me want to get one. And you're like, that's my sister. What the hell? Like, how does this all work?
Yes.
Of course. I mean, I know it's funny probably for us and maybe the listeners like, okay, get on with it. But no, it was just like,
yes. And then
random.
like once you know that, you can't unsee it because
Right.
we sound exactly the same and we like look really similar, but it's like you don't really like know that until you know, and then
Yes.
it's creepy and weird.
It was just like, oh,
Yeah.
okay. And I had said to you, I was like, oh, I've been thinking about asking your sister to be on the podcast, but I don't know her or anything. Would she come on? Because
Oh yeah.
I had started realizing that she was dealing with anxiety and all that fun stuff. And you're like, yeah, absolutely, she would come on. Well, then fast forward, Sarah and I were actually, it was before this. Amy's husband, Mike, had said something about Sarah and her 10,000 followers on Instagram. And I'm like, damn, what? And so I didn't say anything to you then, but
funny.
then what happened was we were volunteering for an event at our church. And I said, I'm like, so tell me about these 10,000 followers. And then you could just see Sarah was sweating a little bit. Like it was a backstory, like, oh.
Yes.
And I kind of opened, is the right analogy, Pandora's box a little bit, where it went to a serious conversation. And we'll talk a little bit about that. But it was just like, oh, okay.
Yes. And it's super random when people find out that I kind of like 10,000, but when people find out, because I don't like talk about it, you know, I would never like bring that up in a conversation with someone. So when people find out that I kind of have this like bigger following, it's like, what?
And then there's like a serious aspect to it. And then you're like,
Right.
oh. And then, so of course, I'm talking to Sarah about this and I'm like, oh, well, I would like for you to come on the podcast too. And you were like, okay, I'll do it. I'll talk about, my stuff when I'm ready. And before we even dive into that, I mean, I just want to say that you make me smile every time I see you and every time I see your stuff on social media, because because I know you, like I hear your voice in the words that you're typing and it just makes me smile. Like you're not sugarcoating things. You are totally real. And I just appreciate it so much. And you just take some of the silliest things like baby carrots and just make it so fun. Would you like to explain the baby carrot situation?
Oh my gosh. So like baby carrots. Okay. So I just this year started working as the secretary at Messiah Lutheran School, which is the school that's attached to our church, and all 4 of my kids go there. And I just became the secretary this year. So, I'm like packing these little lunches to like take to work. And baby carrots are so easy. Okay. So like they just come in this bag and you can just take them out and like put them in your lunch. And then you get out your lunch and you take out what you have and you're like, baby carrots? I don't want to eat baby carrots. Like these are so gross. Like they're not good. They're not good. So I started, of course, this is all like on my Instagram stories. I'm talking about how like baby carrots are just not good. So then I go on this mission to make baby carrots less disappointing. And I'm trying all these like different dips. And it turns into like, I have never gotten so many DMs about anything in my life more than baby carrots and what I should eat them with. You guys, it turned into like this huge scandal. I have to, like every time I talk about baby carrots, I have to turn off my comments because I will get 200 DMs about baby carrots and I can't deal with it. I legit quit. Like I deleted my Instagram for a whole week because of the baby carrots. Like people don't like, it's like, everyone has an opinion about what you should eat with baby carrots. So they just let me know. You're like, oh, I'm just one person. But when you get all, they're like, have you tried ranch? Have you tried hummus? Yes, I have tried ranch and hummus. I'm just not talking about those right now because it's like obvious that I've tried ranch and hummus. Okay. So anyway, it's like this whole thing now. And every time I say anything about baby carrots, I have to turn off my comments. And it's hilarious. It's funny and it's like maddening all at the same time. And it's just a thing now.
What was the number 5 out of 5 star? I can't remember. What was the product?
So there was one. I haven't had a 10 out of 10 yet. Well, I actually have, but I haven't talked about it yet. I'm keeping that one under wraps for a while.
Okay.
But like the 9 out of 10, and this is just to make baby carrots slightly less disappointing. Like this isn't making them like delicious or anything. It's just making them less disappointing. This like artichoke dip from Aldi is like really good with baby carrots. It doesn't really make the baby carrots super good, but it makes them less disappointing.
I can't stop thinking about baby carrots.
I'm serious. Like these are the things that I talk about on Instagram. And what you and I will probably get into, I don't really talk about at all. Like that was how the whole food situation.
Yes.
That was how I got a whole bunch of followers. And then I didn't do that at all. And then I came back. So almost a year ago, it was December 2nd is when I came back and the food stuff was done. And I just started like talking about and doing whatever I want. And so baby carrots is what's up these days.
Baby carrots, like when you say, I mean, first of all, who would have ever thought that I would be doing a podcast episode where like the majority of the first half of it is about baby carrots. But like when you say baby carrots, like it's like a name, like, oh, baby carrots in the house.
It's like, it's the craziest topic that like everyone has an opinion about. It's so funny and just like so much randomness. It makes me happy. It makes me happy.
Do they have an opinion like the Starbucks though? Because that makes me maddening. Like, I think I say to my best friend Rachel, I'm like, you should just follow Sarah just to watch her Starbucks stories.
Yeah. So again, Starbucks is also very disappointing. So I find lots of things disappointing. Well, that's not true. I have like just very low expectations. And so I'm like, nah, when things aren't really that good. I think like my life philosophy is that things are never as bad as everyone says and things are never as good as everyone says.
Yeah.
Like I'm just kind of like living in the middle. And so, yeah, I'm like Starbucks. No. So yeah, I did a series, where I would get Starbucks and now I'm boycotting them because they burned me one too many times. Yeah, it's just like everything is disappointing, but also I get like so much joy out of just the little things. So it's really kind of a weird thing I have going on.
I would always get like when you would say, okay, give me your first suggestion. I'm going to get it. And I'm like, why are you doing that? Why are you wasting your money on these suggestions that you don't even, that a lot of times you didn't like? I'm like, don't do it, Sarah.
Oh, no. Yeah, it's just fun. Like it's really fun, and you would not believe how many comments I get saying like, "You've got to keep doing these drink reviews. Like it makes me so happy." They're like, "Eat and drink all the things. Find them mediocre. Tell us about it." Like it's just so funny the things that people like to watch. Like I have no idea why people watch what I do, but they like it, and it's just I'm just here living my life, and people are watching, and it's fun.
So fun. I'm just in tears because I'm laughing and it's sometimes you just have to do that. Like you just have to. And there's nobody else that can replicate what you're doing. It's just, yeah. And she loves sequins. Sarah loves sequins. She loves sparkly stuff. It's just fun. You're just fun.
I'm just trying to have fun, like let us have some fun, people. Quit giving me suggestions about the baby carrots. They ought to ruin everything. Okay.
Don't just stop. You have 4 kids.
Yes, I do.
4 kids. Yeah. How do you manage? Just like whatever.
Yes. And they're older now. Yes. It's like whatever. So you know about the Enneagram stuff.
Yes.
So I'm a 9. And so everything is just kind of like, it's fine. It'll work out. Like I don't get too stressed about anything. I like to just not be too busy, So even when I had 4 little kids, it was just kind of like, well, this is fine. I don't get like stressed about stuff. But they're older now. And so my oldest is in 7th grade and my youngest is in kindergarten. And I mean, they're just pretty self-sufficient, you know? I get to go out on my walks, and my husband's working from home right now. He's been working from home since March. So yeah, like I go out and do my stuff. And I mean, I love my family so much, but I don't feel guilty about being away from them. So I think it's a personality thing, as much as anything.
Yeah, I feel like I'm struggling, like, just, and I don't know if it's because of their ages, but I think, okay, I'm having such a hard time with 2. What would it be like if I had more? But then I go back and forth. Like, I've talked to people that I said, I feel like my fuse is so short with them, and that this is what they're going to remember. And they're just going to remember me being just yelling. And I've talked to a lot of moms that are like, that happens. That happens. You're not a bad mom. And it's just hard because then I think the other pressure on me is I always hear people say with older kids, like, you're going to miss out. You're going to miss this. You're going to really, really, take it all in and enjoy every single second. And there are things that I don't enjoy at this age at all. Like, I hate car seats. I mean, I like car seats for the safety, but I hate that whole process. And so then I start, it's me. I start doing this stuff in my head, like, oh, you're going to want to have them in car seats one day when they're older. And it's just,
no, you're not.
I do it to myself.
You're not going to miss car seats. Yeah. Like, again, things are as bad as like everyone kind of makes them out to be, and they're not like as great as everyone makes them out to be. And I think like and again, it's a personality thing, but for me, like every stage has these like wonderful things, and every stage has these not so wonderful things. And so you just enjoy, as much as you can of where you are. And you can't worry about all that little stuff. And, okay, first of all, I'm not an expert in anything. Like, I should not be giving advice at all. But, like, just let go.
That's what I'm having trouble with.
And it's not hard for me to let go because, again, like, for me to say, oh, it's so easy to just let go. It's not easy for a lot of people. We're all so different. We have different personalities, and we have different hearts and minds and goals. So for me to say, oh, just lighten up, everything's fine. Well, it's not that easy for a lot of people. It's not that easy for you.
Right.
So, my job is to just listen, when you have things that you want to talk about, and say, yeah, I get that. And it's going to be okay,
And love. Like, I mean, there's no denying that I love my daughters with all my heart and then some. I mean, they'll never, ever, I hope they'll never say that they didn't feel that way. It's just, it is certain things that I need to let go. And that's a personality thing. Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah.
Okay. You want to talk about something serious now?
Sure.
Talk about your... I mean, and we don't have to make it serious, obviously.
Yeah. Oh, gosh, no. I can make anything not serious.
Baby carrots.
Yeah.
So we're going to go back to what I was saying about asking you about how you got 10,000 followers. And you talked to me briefly about it. And you did say at that time, you said, what was that? That was February of last year. So, or this year. No.
Yeah.
This
February
year.
This year was Night to Shine. That was so fun.
Oh, I know. I'm so disappointed that at least we're going to be doing it, even though it's virtual. But Night to Shine is just, to briefly explain, it is a prom for individuals with special needs. And it was just, it was beautiful and amazing. And anyway, you should get involved if you have the opportunity. But it was then when you started talking to me a little bit about the 10,000 followers, and you told me that you weren't ready to talk about openly, like on a podcast, about the reason why you had that many followers, but you would be. And you did some posts on Instagram about what you had been struggling with and what you continue to struggle with. And I thought it was a really good time to have you on now, especially because of the holidays and thinking about the struggle that some people will face. So I don't know how deep you want to go, but you want to just kind of dive into it?
Yeah. So it has to do with food, and body image and all of those things that women have been dealing with our entire lives. And men too. Like, let's not say that doesn't affect men, because it certainly does. So let's see. Several years ago, I became a Whole30 coach. I don't know if you've heard of the Whole30, but it's kind of like an elimination diet where you take out all of these foods that are commonly problematic for people for 30 days. And you don't eat certain foods, and you do eat certain foods, and you just see what happens. It's kind of an experiment. And so I had quite the history with the Whole30, and they started the coaches program. And I jumped at the chance. I was a stay-at-home mom at the time. So I was one of the very first Whole30 coaches. And so I just started a Facebook page and an Instagram page. And I just kind of started talking about, how awesome the Whole30 was. And then also kind of my struggles of kind of keeping up with that, creating a lifestyle around it, because I saw in myself what a difference taking those foods out made in my health. Just a huge difference. And then, so I would do the 30 days, and then it kind of would all go downhill. And I ended up in this binge restrict cycle. So, I'd restrict, try to do this. And then, after a week or a couple weeks, I'd binge and binge and binge. And so I was talking about this as a coach kind of openly, and that drew people to me because lots of people struggle with the same thing, not necessarily with the Whole30, but dieting in general. It's just kind of a diet thing in general. And also I was kind of promoting, I shop at Aldi and I shop at Walmart. And so I was kind of showing people that you can, do the Whole30 and eat this way without having to shop at Whole Foods and everything like this. And so combination of, just timing and luck, and the Whole30 team was super supportive. And so, I got all these followers, and then I was nominated as the first Whole30 coach of the year at our first coaches summit. So then I got some more followers. I was up to probably, I think, like 16,000 followers or so. So, this was kind of my thing. I was a coach, and I would coach groups online, and also was very open with the fact that I didn't have it all together. And so I would just kind of help people along the way. And then I guess it was 2 years ago now, at about this time, I started trying to lose fat, like intentionally. So this had never been really about weight loss for me. It was just kind of about like trying to get my eating under control, And so about 2 years ago, I decided that I was going to try carb cycling. And that's when, like, one day you'll eat high carb, low fat. The next day you'll eat low fat, high carb, any combination that you want to try. So I did that for a while, and I could tell that it was, air quotes, working to lose fat. And then after a while, I, of course, lost it, as I always did, and went into this deep binge for like a week. So when I would binge, it would usually just be like one day, and then I would kind of go back to restricting in whatever way that I was doing that. But this was like days and days in a row. And I was like, what is going on? It was super scary, because anyone who's familiar with binging, not just in a general term, but in like binge eating disorder talk, it's an out of body experience. It's really scary. Like, you feel like you're not in control of what you're doing. It's kind of like you're almost in it's almost like you're asleep and you're just stuffing as much as you can into your face. And, eating and eating and eating. And so this was going on for days. And finally I was like, I can't do this anymore. I don't know what's going on. So I asked Laura, my sister, I said, I need some help. It's too much right now. So she got me in touch with a therapist. And so I started going to therapy. And all of this time, what I had imagined and what I had kind of heard was that, these binging episodes and eating disorders was like a mental health issue, right? So, I'm doing this because I'm unhappy or, I'm self-sabotaging or because of something that happened in childhood or something, but I didn't feel any of that. I didn't know what was going on. I didn't have any of these, issues. So I started going to a therapist and, we talked about my marriage and my childhood and stress and being a mom, which is good. It was all good things to talk about. And the therapist, encouraged me to like keep going, with the Whole30 to try to get these like binges under control. But I just didn't feel like I was making any progress. I deep down didn't feel like this was a mental health issue, but I didn't know what it was. And then it was, I want to say, April, this is 2020. How could I forget? Good grief. So I feel like it was April of 2019. Somehow I heard of this book called Brain Over Binge by Katherine Hansen, and I read it. And the premise was basically that for some people, I will never say that something is true for everyone, never. But for a lot of people, these binges are not. It's not a month. You're not doing it because you're sad or to fill this hole. You're doing it because you're restricting and your body is rebelling against that. Okay, your body is saying, "No, I don't want to starve." Right. Like starving is not natural. It's not good for me. I want that fat on my body because that means that I'm safe and well. And I just reading that, and I was like, yes, that is exactly what is going on. So I was trying to fix the binging by more restricting, right? I was like, the more rules, more restriction, this will help. Well, it was actually the restricting that was causing the binges all along. And so long story short, that day after I read the book, I just quit. I gave it all up. And all the rules, all the restriction, all the trying, which, as I said, I'm a 9. So this was like the easiest thing that I have ever done because giving up and stopping and stop trying, that's like my dream. Okay. So again, for a lot of people, this is not going to be easy. For me, it was easy. I just stopped. I gave it all up. And I never binged again because I never restricted again. And so what that looks like in practice is that I just started eating whatever I want, whenever I want, with no guilt or shame. Doesn't mean anything. It's just food. Eating one cookie or eating 10 cookies is the same. It's if I want to eat it or if I don't. And it just came very naturally to me. I think the timing was right. I think my personality was right for it. And so it just happened. And so that part of me just healed. Now, the challenge now is that when I did that, I pretty immediately gained weight, 15 to 20 pounds, and I've stayed there. And so what that means is that I'm kind of in my set range where my body wants to be. And so the challenge now is accepting that I will never diet again. I will never intentionally try to lose weight again because it would be a huge sacrifice to my mental health. And so that's hard. That's hard because in our culture, everything is about getting thinner. You
Yep.
know, if you're not trying to get thinner, what are you doing? You know? And so where I am at now is accepting that this is what I look like when I'm healthy and happy and eating what I want. Food has no power over me any longer. And I'm so happy. I'm so happy. But do I love my body? No. Which is why this whole, there's a kind of an emerging movement, if you will, called body neutrality, which is kind of where I'm at. Whereas that, again, it's this whole like living in the middle. Okay. I don't hate my body. I don't love my body. My body is what it is. This is what my genetics and my current age and my current lifestyle, this is what my body looks like. It's not good. It's not bad. It's who I am. And so that's kind of where I'm at right now, is just kind of being neutral about the whole thing, and buying clothes that actually fit my body and trying not to stress about what that size is. And so that's kind of where I am now. And I don't really talk about this, you know, with my followers or anything, in so many words. I think the way that I live and the things that I do, it might come across a little bit. What do you think? That I'm trying to just be happy with who I am right now.
So I have so many things that I want to ask you. Let me back up to what, and this is something that I had talked to you about too. So episode 30, there was a part 1 and a part 2. I had Shannon on, and she is a dietitian, but she doesn't call herself a dietitian in the sense of just a dietitian. She is an intuitive eating every size, like that's she is
health,
health
health at every size.
100%. I will tell you that the 2 podcast episodes, the one title that I gave it, "We Are Taught We're Successful If Our Body Gets Smaller." The other title, "Women Face the Cultural Message, Thin is Better Every Single Day." You talked about those things just a minute ago. Like and that's something that Shannon always said, is we are diet culture, that you are faced with this every single day. Women are faced with this so much. So I started talking to Shannon on my own and really trying to get what it meant to be an intuitive eater and the restrictions, because that's exactly what she said. Restrictions, that's the devil. Like when you are telling yourself you can't have something, your body rebels, like not at first. So she was telling me, like, eat it. Just eat the pie, eat the cookies, eat whatever you would like with no guilt. And I started doing that. And then that was making me think that I could just eat everything. And I knew that that wasn't right either. Like, I am giving myself permission, but I think I was giving myself permission overboard, if that makes sense. Like, oh, Shannon told you, and this is nothing with Shannon because Shannon and I are still working together, but Shannon told you just to eat it. And so then I started to back off a little bit, and not necessarily going into a diet, but more of all right, let's start focusing on the foods that make you feel good, make you overall health-wise feel good. And then if you want to have the added pizza or whatever it is, just do it. And I feel like I did well with that and continue to do well. I am in the process now of eliminating, and I have mostly eliminated gluten because of stomach issues. So now I'm just trying to say, okay, what is it that I need to feel my best? Well, like you said, and this is where I'm interested in finding out, like, where you go from here is, I don't love my body. I wouldn't say that I can positively say I don't hate it. I just haven't accepted it. Like I haven't accepted that A, I'm 43, B, I've had 2 babies, and C, yeah, I mean, it's just if I'm not I'm genetically not the way I was when I was in my teens or in my 20s. But what I go back to is I have lost weight before. I have done it based on a workout routine and an eating routine. And so in my mind, I think I can go back there because I've done it before. Does that make sense?
Oh, of course. Yes. And I for sure still get that urge. But was that sustainable? Did your body like to be there, or did you have to fight it?
Well, here's the problem. And this is what I talked to Shannon about too, is I never thought it was good enough. So I can look back at those pictures. Let's just use the wedding as an example. I was working out all the time. I mean, people were telling me that I looked so amazing. I mean, that's what a lot of women want. You want your
Yes.
wedding dress to be, and I didn't see it. And I'll look back at those pictures now and be like, why didn't you see it? Like you were in great shape, but I didn't see it. I never see it. I never. So that's the other problem. Like I also go through the whole cycle of, I see people that work out a lot that's in their blood. And I think to myself, well, why can't that happen to me? Like I can go 30 days, 45 days, whatever, of working out, and then all of a sudden just be done. Like, and again, bringing it up with Shannon, I said, I worked my butt off before my wedding. And the minute we got home from Mexico, I went to the gym like 2 more times and then I was done. And she was like, because there was an end goal. There was a restriction. That's what it was. It wasn't I want to do this for me. It was all of that. So then I get conflicted again because I just told you I didn't think I looked my best then. And so I doubt I ever will think that.
Yeah. And that's really hard. And I hate that for you. I hate that for everybody. I hate that for me. Which is why it's such a process of just like every day going like, this is who I am. I don't want to fight. I don't want to fight with my body anymore.
Yeah. That's how I feel.
I can't. There's too much good. There are too many good things in life to spend it doing that. And so I'm just not going to. Like, it's a choice. It's just a choice that you have to make every day. And maybe we will never get to like loving the way that we look. But maybe we can live in the middle.
And something you brought up that I don't know why I have never really taken this into consideration is our personalities. So
for sure.
Obviously I'm going to handle it differently than you because of, I believe my Enneagram was the one that was the most dominant was a 5, I think.
Okay.
But what's really interesting is that when I look at you, and I don't want to make you creeped out, but I look at you and I am like, oh my gosh, I love her fashion sense. I've actually said this to you. So I love your fashion sense. I think that you look amazing in everything that you're wearing. Like when you talk to me about not loving your body and not wanting to see the number on the clothes, the size, like I don't even, again, it's perspective. Like, I don't even think that that's an issue for you. You know what I mean? Like that's, you quote unquote wear it well. I mean, like you really truly do. Like I look at you and I don't even think of any of those things. And like, how could you even be wrestling with those thoughts?
Right. And let me tell you that the fittest, thinnest person that feels the same way. We all do. Like you said, when you were the smallest you were in your wedding dress, you felt the same way that you do now.
Yeah.
Right? So why work so hard to feel the same way? Just live. Just live. Oh, we could talk about this for 5 hours. I'm not even joking. Like, there's so much more that I want to say.
Well, do you have, like, when you were talking about how the being in body neutrality and like, are there any things, resources, anything that you are using or have heard of to help with that whole concept?
Okay, so here's the thing. That day that I gave it all up, right? I unfollowed everyone. So like I had so many friends in the Whole30 community, I unfollowed them all. I unfollowed everyone, everything that would make me want to go back. I just had to. This was like, this is my recovery, and I'm still in recovery. So I unfollowed all of them, which was the right thing to do.
Okay.
So just recently, so it's so weird because all of these things kind of came to me intuitively. Like I said, I did read that book, but it just made so much sense to me. And I just kind of like did what I did intuitively. And now probably in the last, 6 months or so, I've started following, like some intuitive eating people, but even like, this is like so me, even the term like intuitive eating kind of connotates that you're like thinking about it.
Right.
No, I don't want to think about it. Like, so I don't even call myself an intuitive eater because that implies like you're doing work.
Right.
Like, no, like I'm not thinking about it at all. Except during certain times, which we have talked about before, and I don't know if we'll have time to talk about it now, but there are some like health issues that arise sometimes when I have to remove gluten and sugar from my diet for a few days, just until those things clear up. That's a whole other conversation. Anyway, what was I talking about? So anyway, just in the past 6 months, I've started following more people on Instagram who look like me, who are bigger than me, who, are talking about this kind of anti-diet culture. And again, even like with them, I'm kind of like, that's too far the other way. And I'm still kind of here in the middle, but I'm balancing out my feed, so that I see more people who look like me, and I see more people who are saying, restriction is what causes the binges. Restriction is what causes, the poor relationship with food. Everyone has a set weight range, and if you see someone who is thin that you want to look like, it's either because A, genetically that's just how they look, or B, they are, working and having to fight against their bodies in a way that I just don't want to do. I'm over that. So genetically, this is what I look like when I'm not fighting my body. And so I'm following people who are saying these things, but I'm taking them with a grain of salt too. And I'm seeing, how does that match up with what I'm feeling, with how I'm living, with how I want to live, how I interact with other people who say things about their bodies. So basically, at this point, I will never comment on someone's body. I don't think I ever did. I just wouldn't ever comment on someone's body type unless we were having a conversation like this, and I'm still not going to comment on your body. And I make it a point to not say anything derogatory about food, just in like casual conversation. Like, I'll never say, oh, I shouldn't be eating this, or I'll never comment on what someone else is eating. That's just not something that I'm going to do. I feel like that's just my one little like F you to diet culture.
Yes.
I will never apologize or deride myself for something that I eat. And I can honestly say this, which is shocking. So I don't know, it's been like a year and a half. I've not regretted one thing that I've eaten since that day. I wouldn't take anything back, which is mind-blowing coming from someone who would binge and feel such shame about it. I mean, just the shame of it all was, just it makes me want to cry and throw up all at the same time right now, just thinking about it. And that just is gone. It's so much freedom just to eat and not apologize for it or feel that it's wrong. And I can't even say like, you could do this too, like you can get here too, because I don't know that, everyone is different. And so again, it's like, what can you do to, again, say, my body's not as bad as I think it is. I might not ever love it. Can I just try to accept it for what it is right now, and I want to say that I'm saying this as someone with the privilege of being able to go into a store and buy something to wear. I'm saying with the privilege of being able, so I went to Six Flags last weekend, and so I'm a size 12/14 depending on the brand. And I was barely fitting in some of these roller coaster seats. So I'm able to say this as someone who can, move about life in this world and still do what I want to do. And there are people in bigger bodies that don't get to do that. And so I would never dismiss their struggles as well, that the world is not, always set up for them. And I think that's terrible. And I think that sucks really, really hard, because for anyone, people of all sizes, to accept that, like genetically, this is who I am. This is what I look like. This is my size when I'm not fighting my body, when I'm happy. And I want everybody to be able to live there comfortably and happily. And it's not the case right now. I hope someday it will be. So again, like I can only speak for myself and just kind of live the way that I want everyone to be able to live. And that's really all I can do.
You gave me some great things to think about, and just being neutral. All right, we can't end like this. We're going to end, but we got to talk about something funny to wrap up this conversation. And I don't know what it would be. Maybe you have something that you would like to suggest. Oh, maybe your Hallmark movies.
Yes. So I have never watched Hallmark Christmas movies before. I don't know. I think we never had the channel or something. It just never really interested me. But anyway, one of my friends at work loves Hallmark Christmas movies. And so I was like, well, I'm going to just watch one just to like have something to talk about with this person. And so I watched the first one. There was just one randomly available, on my TV last weekend. So I watched it and I was like, okay, this is cool. And then, so Laura and her girls, her daughter Audrey, my niece, loves Hallmark Christmas movies. And so we decided we were going to have this marathon yesterday. Okay. So we watched 5 Hallmark Christmas movies, and I rated them all, based on these like categories, and a couple of them were really bad and a couple of them were really good. And so now, okay, I hate to say my followers. I hate that. So I'll just call them my Instagram friends. So now all of my Instagram friends, they want me to make a highlight out of all these stories, and they want me to watch all of them and rate them all so that they know, which ones to watch. And I'm like, people, let me live. Let me live.
We need you to do all the stuff for us.
They're like, try all the Starbucks drinks so we know what to get. Watch all the Hallmark movies so we know what to watch. Try on all these clothes so we know what to buy. And I'm saying it like it's annoying. It's really not. Like, it's fun. Like, this is the community. And people trust me because they know I am not easily impressed.
Right.
But also, like, if I say something is good, like, probably for most people it's good. Okay.
Oh, I forgot about the underwear.
Oh, yeah. Oh, there's no good underwear, Jill. There's not.
So I did. Yeah, Sarah said she was going to try these underwear and get back to all of us. I was like, yes, please tell me. And no go. So yes, it's those things. Hallmark, Starbucks, baby carrots, underwear.
Right. Like, it's just like, it could be what you never know what's going to happen. Right. So I think I am going to order this other kind of underwear, but they're super expensive. I don't know. Do I even care that much about underwear? Do I, Jill? I don't know. So I might try it. Like, I might buy it for myself for Christmas. And of course I will let you know, but
I was going to say,
I just don't think there's any like actual good underwear out there. And then, I will get comments, try this underwear. It's the best. No, it's not. No, it's not. It's the best for you. No.
Oh my gosh, this has been so fantastic. Sarah, I appreciate you and I just love you.
I love you too. And can I say how much I love to see you at work? Oh my gosh, Jill like works there now. Okay.
I forgot to mention that. Like at the beginning, I was saying how you are like so responsible for a lot of my personal and professional assets now because of Messiah. Yes, I am working at our church.
You have a desk and an office, and you're just like walking by sometimes like, hey, I just work here. Like, what? It's so fun. It's so fun.
Well, when I found out when you were going to start working there, because now my oldest daughter, Lou, goes to school at Messiah Lutheran. When I found out Sarah was going to be working there like every day, I was so excited. I know she doesn't do anything with Lou, but I just knew that she would be there and it made me so happy. And now when I can walk by and see you and it brings me so much joy.
Me too. Loving the people that you work with is like the best thing ever. It really is.
You're so awesome. Thank you for sharing your story.
Oh, you're welcome.
Let's get to this week's Supermom shout out, nominated by Michelle. She is nominating her best friend, Amy of O'Fallon, Missouri. Her email says, "Hi, Jill. My best friend, Amy, is a supermom. She's a single mom, going to school to get her master's, works for Sacred Grounds Coffee Truck. She's actually a founder of that company, and she volunteers for our church, Peace Lutheran. She helps me with all my volunteer projects as well. Her daughter, Kylie, is absolutely amazing. She does gymnastics and just started Girl Scouts. Kylie keeps Amy pretty busy, yet Amy is able to do everything I listed and do it well. Amy, I see you and I support you." If you have a Supermom shout-out nomination, email me, hello@jilldevine.com. Tell me her name, where she's from, and why she deserves that Supermom shout-out. And I want to thank you for tuning in to Two Kids in a Career. Your support of this podcast means so much to me. You can always tell your friends or family. I won't be mad about that. And also follow along on Instagram @JillDevine and online, JillDevine.com. If you would like, you could subscribe, you could rate, and you could review the podcast. And by doing that, it just means that the podcast will get a little bit more notice and into the hands of others. So again, thank you for your support and for listening to Two Kids and a Career.